having a support system behind you is great. I feel like that's the icing on the cake. But if you don't believe in yourself, then nobody will. So, me showing just a slither of being confident, and then having that great support system behind me, now it's to the point where, I enjoy the support system, but the confidence is keeping me going, so that when the roadblocks just come through, I just kick them straight down. Just pay attention to the people that you speak with, because those people have impacts with your life, and then eventually it can, impact if you're even going to start your business, or it can make you even stop your business. You have to pay attention to the people that are in your front yard.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Epiphany Off the Cuff. Thank you so much for watching or joining from wherever you are and with whatever you're doing. I'd like to introduce our guest today. His name is Isaiah Nuñez.
Hello, everybody.
He is he's joining us from way across town. A lot of times we have guests from out of the area, but Isaiah is here in the Atlanta area.
Local.
And we have our co-host, our lovely co-host, Hazel. Hazel Haygood, how are you?
I'm doing good today. How are you?
Doing fantastic. So glad to be here. So glad the sun's out today. I mean, it's a beautiful day here. Would you not agree?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty nice outside.
It's so nice that, both of us are in Atlanta. What are your favorite things in there?
As far as Atlanta, not the heat. That's for sure.
You don't tell that to someone who lives in the Philippines.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I sound like I'm complaining now.
Yeah, it's just kidding.
I'm in a love-hate relationship when it comes to weather. So I wish that I was back in Pennsylvania because it's cold, but when I went to Pennsylvania, it was too cold, so I wanted to come back to Georgia. But then now it's getting to the point where it's getting hot, and now I want it to be cold again. So it's a love-hate relationship.
Oh, that sounds like love-hate to me, man. Yeah. It's just barely starting to get hot.
Yeah, it's one of those, it just comes down to not knowing what you want. That's it.
Cool. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thanks again for joining us. We've got a good show today. Today, what we're going to talk about is what happens when you've got roadblocks to your vision. A lot of times, we as business owners, we're, trucking along, we start these businesses, we've got great ideas, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And, something happens and, something happens most of the time. And so, Isaiah, I know that you've had some experience with that, but before we get into that, we'd love to hear a little bit about you and a little bit about your backstory.
I'm Isaiah Nuñez, and I'm the owner of DomceptVisuals, which is a video production company that, I'm getting into the short film industry, so I'm mainly focusing on being more of a director. I also have my own show, Kinda Not Scripted, where I've created a platform for other creators. So that mainly focus on their businesses as far as social media aspects go. So we have a lot of different people that go from Twitch and TikTok and Instagram. So this is just really a platform for them to showcase themselves. So it's pretty much a bridge between the audience to the actual people at the panel, which we're at right now.
Cool. Mm-hmm. Cool. Awesome. And your company is DomceptVisuals, and what do you do there, and what makes your company unique versus all the a lot of other companies that do video production and that sort of thing?
Yeah, I try to put a lot of I like to make a joke. I say that I'm a drama king. So I like to
What exactly does that mean?
I'm very dramatic. So I like to key on a lot of emotional factors when it comes to video. So I like to take ordinary visions and ideas and amplify them so that there is more of a connection for the person that is watching it, more than just a two-dimensional video. So I like taking little things like maybe a speaker and spinning it on a table and bringing more of a backstory behind that. So especially with my video, so I want to start getting into short films where there's minimal dialogue, because I feel like dialogue sort of sets too much of the tone of the video and it's sort of distracting. With maybe I don't want to say bad acting, but maybe just with acting and anything, dialogue kind of waters down vision. So I feel like if you eliminate dialogue and tell the story just from the perspective of the camera, you don't need dialogue to understand the concept of the actual film. So that's what I'm focusing more on, that with color science, schemes, emotions, a lot of close cropped, with the lenses, focusing on facial features, because I feel like people's faces tell the story first before the dialogue. Yeah.
So if I was, I know you have a question, Hazel. I just want to just ask one more question.
Mhm.
So if I were a media buyer, if I was a marketing company, or if I was a company, I mean, at what point would I hire you, and what would I hire you for?
Wait, I'm sorry. Say that one more time.
So if I was like a marketing company or a media company, or just a company that wanted to work with you, I mean,
Mhm.
why would I approach you? Why would I come and say, hey, you know what, I want some of the work that Isaiah does.
Because I put me personally, when it comes to my videos, I put a lot of energy, and I'm somewhat of a perfectionist, so that's sort of like my weakness. It takes me a little while to get through because I'm trying to make sure that everything is perfect. I put a lot of effort into like minimalize things. I don't have all the equipment and all the things that you might need. I don't spend thousands of dollars, but I use little, like, this microphone right here is $20. $20, $40 sounds great. I just use minimal things and try to amplify them, and I put a lot of effort onto quality. So quality is always the first thing when it comes to me shooting videos, and then the concept and everything like that. So I try to plan everything as far as the functionality of how the film is going to go, whether it's a commercial or skit or anything, and then everything comes after. So I focus on quality first for everything, for everything.
Got it.
First
Got it.
impressions for
Got it.
sure.
Yeah, definitely,
Love
definitely
that.
understood. Understood.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I love how you said that, you focus on emotional impact and the
Mhm.
quality that you deliver. So, how did you find that niche, and how does that connect with your vision, with the vision that you
Um,
had creating your company?
Yeah, it comes from a lot of downtime. I don't want to really make it sad, but I definitely spent a lot of my growing up years internally, just living inside of my own head. And I love film, I love cartoons and anime and music videos, and I always found that I would, like, for instance, we'll watch a movie and I'll cry at a random part just because, say that he picked up, a cup of water and he drank it. I created the narrative that came before him picking up that cup. So I always found an emotional connection to characters that people might not find connections with. So I always enjoyed the fact that I like things with detailed backstories. A lot of people don't like a lot of dialogue when it comes to movies. I love the dialogue because it sets up the tone for the actual movie. I love drama.
Yeah.
I love the connection because I feel like that's really important. I feel like it's really important when you watch a video. You can watch if it's a car commercial. Would you rather see what led up to them going into the car? Or would you rather just have the buyer just say, "Hey, here goes the keys," and they get in the car and they start driving it around? Those quality videos are amazing. They're quick action
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But why not just show the woman what she was driving before she got that car? Sort of things like that. So and I do a lot of shoot to editing too. So the way that I use the camera is so that it's minimal editing. I don't like to focus too much on effects because I feel like effects is really blinding to the eye. So I set a lot of my scenes and I build the sets between each frame, each shot, so that so
Cool.
you can just create the story behind it. So I just love just the emotions behind film. Mhm.
Cool,
Love
cool,
that.
cool. So, yeah, that's I really get that. I think as a consumer, the emotional connection is what kind of draws the attention. Just keeps me focused,
Yeah.
allows me to, I guess relate,
Mhm.
to the actors or what's going on. And I guess that's what makes good commercials great.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Whether you're
Exactly.
laughing or whatever empathy that you're having with the people that are participating in it.
Right, right, exactly. And a lot of businesses really don't need that as well. Not everybody wants to. Some people just want cut dry, straight to the point. And people can do that, but I think it's just more of just what you enjoy doing and what people are looking for. And when people are looking for that part for their visuals, I always consider
Right,
myself somebody that they would need for sure.
right,
Yeah.
right. Outstanding,
Yeah.
outstanding. Well, one of the things we want to talk about is you've got your podcast, kind of not
Yes,
scripted.
sir.
You've had it for a number of years,
Hmm.
and you talked about it. I know in your introduction you talked about it a little bit, but tell us a little bit about the show and
Right.
what it's about and who you're talking to in the show.
Right. So with this show, I love this show because of the fact that it is filled with a panel of underdogs. You know, what's it called? You watch
Underdogs.
underdogs. We're really underdogs. I always make a joke and I say that we're your favorite. We're the best podcast that you've never heard of. And that's what I say every beginning of the episodes. So, but yeah, it's just a panel of people who are just really, they're just starting up. They have an idea of where they want to go. They gather their niche. You know, there's someone, like I mentioned before, he's on TikTok, and the other one, he's on stream, but he's also an engineer as well. And then, you know, all the way back to the back of behind the scenes. You know, my wife, she is the manager of the show, and then our videographer, which is my DP, especially for which is director of photography. He is my full-on videographer for all of my films for DomceptVisuals, and then Kinda Not Scripted is an extension from DomceptVisuals, and he does all the quality. So he set this up. I didn't touch nothing. I just went and got dressed and came back, and everything was great. So
magic.
Right, it's magic. But with the show, I really didn't want to create the show to showcase me. I really wanted to create the show to showcase my panel, because I already have, you know, DomceptVisuals, and that's my baby. That's my primary baby. But I know that there's a lot of people that might not get the exposure that they might necessarily need, because they're kind of forgotten, because it's very saturated in that niche. So making a platform for other people to show the behind the scenes. So when you watch behind the scenes, I personally enjoy watching behind the scenes from movies, because you get to see people in their natural element. You watch them on the screen and you see them for what they are. Just like you, for instance, you are a business consultant and you're this big honcho, but this platform pretty much just lets people, lets people see who Hazel and Rick are in their natural element in regular conversation, and not just the business guy just getting things done. You know?
Sure.
So that's what this platform is. So that's what this platform. So we come up with a topic, but we don't really dive too deep into the topic. We kind of just we really free form it. So everything as far as production is structured, and the flow of the show is structured, but the responses and the conversations aren't really in line. I don't want to say in line, but it is structured to be in the format of just being not scripted. But the kind of part is the amount of, you know, work is done on the behind the scenes and within as well. Yeah, so really we're just showcasing the underdogs and just, you know, promoting them. That's what this platform is, because I don't think there's a lot of platforms that, you know, help people who are just starting up. A lot of people and, you know, essentially it's kind of like, you know, contradicting itself, because, you know, a lot of people, and as far as them to get big in the social media world, is that it's luck. Yeah. It's really just luck. It's the right person seeing it at the right time. And for them, it's a platform that they're utilizing through me. But at the end of the day, I am also trying to be in that same category, to where this platform can go through luck being seen by the right person at the right time. And then when it comes to that point where, you know, constant promotions and dropping videos here, there, countless hours of work to, you know, try to market yourself, eventually it will become a platform where it's something where everybody wants to be a part of. So it's not just limited to the people on the table. I have 3 different co-hosts, and I have 4 other people who are part of Kinda Not Scripted. So, and I'm stopping there, but the family is really big, because these are all people who have these dreams. You know, we're all 9 to 5. We're all working a 9 to 5 job, and we just have dreams of just being able to work for ourselves, because we feel like we have a lot to give out to the world, but we just haven't been seen yet.
That's great. So just to loop in our central topic for today's episode.
Right.
When you established your podcast, how did you define your primary vision, and what do you do to check in with yourself and ensure that you're in line, what you're doing right now is in line with that vision?
It took a long time to get to the point where I am right now, to be able to see a clear vision, to where roadblocks that come into play don't affect me as much. You know, I'm I rely a lot on others, community. That's why I have this platform for other people who are trying to utilize the area space. So I rely a lot on community. That was me before, but now, you know, I feel like I don't need it as much, but I still love it. So back then it was really hard, because, you know, just trying to create something, and out of the whim. You know, I've always known that I wanted to do something with podcasting. I've always known that I wanted to do something with video, but it wasn't really constructed. And I had a bad habit of just coming up with the idea and jumping into it really fast without a plan. So when I realized that quick plan that I didn't take any hours of research, I didn't try to plan it out. So after a couple of weeks and it's not going the way that I wanted, it kind of stumped me and I felt like, okay, this is not going to work. And I throw that one away and I pick up the next one. And I throw that one away and I pick up the next one. So, I know it's really, and I know a lot of people might have this, but where I got to the point right now is because of my fiance. I came up with the podcast kind of not scripted the first go around, but it wasn't really working because, the commitment wasn't there. And, there was just commitment, especially when it comes to a podcast. If you don't have that, it's not going to work out, especially if you don't have the confidence I didn't have the confidence to be, okay, let's just stop this. Let me just reset everything on the platform, pick this person, pick this one. It's not working out. I'm sorry. Let's just keep on going. No, it made me stop. And I didn't.
Well, wait, you started out with, you started out kind of not scripted originally with a couple of people.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
And that's kind of, that's, so, and you struggled a little bit.
Right.
You had a
Right.
good show initially.
Right.
You were pleased with what was going on,
Right.
but then what happened? What happened to make you get to the point where, that was, round one versus, where you are right now?
As far as what happened to the first go around?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the lack of vision of all, the lack of vision on my part. I feel like me creating the show, I should have had the vision that was strong enough to be able to withstand all the roadblocks. So it came to the point where I was relying on the commitment of those, when in reality, the whole concept of it was that it was the same concept that we have right now. It was everybody in their own individual fields, and they use this platform to showcase themselves. So because of my vision not being there, I was dependent on the commitment of the others. So because it wasn't there, it wasn't working out. And then the pandemic came, which would have been the perfect opportunity to, take advantage of being on a podcast, but it didn't happen. And that's where that year break came into play.
It was courageous, I think,
Yeah.
just, restarting it again, after, you experienced, out of the gate, you did well, and then you felt like it wasn't going the direction that you wanted
Right.
to.
Right.
And then, even though you waited a bit, you got back on the saddle and you said, hey, you're going to push this forward. I mean, what does it take, to get back on the horse, so to speak, after you've, I don't want to say fallen off,
Right.
but, you decide to stop,
Yeah.
because it wasn't going the direction,
Right.
the direction that you wanted to go.
Right. Confidence. Literally just that, confidence. You have to, having a support system behind you is great. I feel like that's the icing on the cake. But if you don't believe in yourself, then nobody will. And I had to get to the point where I had to gain that personal confidence in myself, because that's the one thing that I definitely wasn't lacking, the confidence. So because I didn't have the confidence, nothing worked and nothing was long lasting. But it's sort of like it could be interpreted as ego, having an ego, or it could be a cocky thing. But I really look at it as just confidence in myself, and it literally came from support systems. So, me showing just a slither of being confident, and then having that great support system behind me, now it's to the point where I enjoy the support system, but the confidence is keeping me going, so that when the roadblocks just come through, I just kick them straight down. Obviously, some things, are bigger than others.
Sure.
I don't want to get so deep, especially with my mindset, as my grandmother, she had passed, and when that happened, that was the first time that I realized that I lost something that was very strong. There's something I really cared about, which made me, and that can make you go through depression, and that can make you, sit back and just look at, I don't have the energy to do this. But it really just made me flip the whole narrative and look at it in a perspective way, and realize I've been putting a lot of energy in things that honestly should not be effective. Like, I put a lot of energy in things that really shouldn't matter. So when I got to that mindset, that's when I realized that, I'm full speed ahead. I'm full speed ahead with this. So these roadblocks, roadblocks are good, but that's why I really enjoyed the episode that dropped yesterday. Well, her name's Kyrie Harris. Yeah, I really enjoyed the episode with her, because she really, she put a lot of, good topics out as far as, mental health. I think that, I don't want to piggyback off what she's saying, but it really all comes down to that. It's just, what's it called? Mental health is a reflective of your confidence. If you don't have any confidence in yourself, then you cannot push forward. So what's it called? And it's great to talk about it. And I think that people have a fear of stepping back. They feel like if you're a business owner, you cannot step back, because if you step back, you will lose. But in reality, especially with somebody who is like me, who is, they're the only way to get to a certain level is that I have to push out content. If I'm constantly trying to push out content when I have creator's block and I stop, then I'm gonna start losing confidence in my business. Sometimes you need to sit back and just experience the real world, get out of your office and just, pick up other niches. Me, when I can't figure out what to do for a video, what I do, I watch movies. I play video games. I just get my mind constantly moving, play Sudoku, play little app games, wordscapes. I just try to keep my mind active, but I try to eliminate myself from thinking as visuals because it gets overwhelming. Sometimes you need a break and everything. I love, Gary Vee. What's it called? I love Gary Vee because he pretty much just said that he doesn't understand why business owners have to work 365 days. When in reality, taking off a couple days out the week is literally not going to make a difference. So when you're I'm sorry.
Oh, I agreed. I said that's true.
Oh yeah. So I feel like you just need to be able to be okay with the fact that you can step back for a couple days, even if it has to be 2 weeks. What's it called? You can't force yourself to be able to be productive especially with being a creator. If you're a creator and you're getting creator's block, you cannot push yourself. You really can't push yourself because you're going to lose confidence, and then you're going to start looking at the next project and you're going to say, oh, this isn't good enough. This isn't good. And then all of a sudden you're going to start scraping it off. So you really need to protect your mindset, protect your confidence. So that's how I can be, me not even being at the level that I want to, but I have aspirations to get to that level, and I have confidence that I will get to that level only because of my support system, my mindset, and just me being okay with just taking a week off. I don't have to drop an episode. I can drop an episode every Friday, but we could take a break from shooting the episode. As long as the next time that we get together, we just shoot the episode so that it's not, because we shoot 2 episodes a week. So sometimes we might skip a weekend, but we need to make sure that we push out enough content to compensate for that week that was missed. It's okay to take vacations.
Beautiful,
Yeah,
beautiful. We mentioned about restarting when you hit a roadblock, but I also have great respect for those who even start, who had the guts to start at all, because that's a huge thing, taking a leap of faith, and a great thread really is that not focusing on improvement. It's that we never even start. I think that's where most people are hung up, and where we struggle so much when moving forward. So you mentioned having a support system also helped you in terms of overcoming those roadblocks. But then not everyone has a good support system in place in their current environment. So
unfortunately, yeah.
how does one curate their environment into something that would, support what they want, and also, perhaps close doors to environments that are not beneficial to their goals? That happens. So how do we close those doors with grace, and also with boundaries at the same time, saying that's my old life, are you with me or not, without sounding like you're burning a bridge?
Yeah, that's actually that's very difficult, because just like you said, that fear of burning a bridge when you're eliminating maybe connections with people that might bring negative impacts on your life and stuff. But one of my uncle probably said one of the best things to me. He said, a lot of people that get into that mindset where it's hard for them to keep on going is because they feel like there's too much on their plate, and they keep on putting additions into their life. When in reality, you shouldn't look at them as additions. They should just be normalized towards normal life. Those things that are making it overwhelming is because they have a lot of negative things in their life that needs to be removed, so that those things that are additions, regardless if they come in tomorrow or they come in today or in 2 weeks, they're just normalized. And I think it's really important to put yourself in category, like with the show. I keep on bringing up the show because it's the best example as far as working with others and picking your environments and stuff. Everybody that's on my panel is people that I work with, and I had to work with them for 2 years to be able to look at them and be like, this is the perfect environment for me, because everybody, regardless if they are starting out, like we have one guy who hasn't even started, but he's really just going with with the flow. This is his baby before he can come up to the step where he figures out, you know, I'm good at this. I'm gonna keep on going. So him being in that environment, you just have to pay attention to the people that you're around, because you know, looking at certain people, they bring negative impacts in your life. You know, it's really, especially if you're an empath and you run off of people's emotions. You know, a lot of people don't understand that, like, the things that they say have a negative impact in those lives. If you pick somebody up from work and you're carpooling, the first thing that they do when they get in the car and they say, man, I don't feel like going to work. How do you feel when you walk in the door? Negative. Those are the type of people that, you know, it's okay to express your emotions, but those are the people that you kind of have to be weary of, because while you're trying to move forward, they're actually holding you down, especially when you hanging out with them for multiple times a week. You need to be able, it doesn't mean that you have to cut them off and burn the bridge, but you can reduce that time in communicating with them. So if you have a bad relationship with your mom or something like that, maybe you shouldn't talk to her Monday through Friday. Maybe you should talk to her maybe 2 times a week, once a week. You know, just kind of give that, especially if it's like a conversation that's toxic, like, you know, it's just pay attention to the people that you speak with, because those people have impacts with your life, and then eventually it can, you know, impact if you're even going to start your business, or it can make you even stop your business. You know, you have to pay attention to the people that are in your front yard.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, there's just so much to be said, you know, about energy,
Yeah.
you know, being a business owner, you know, and the need to, you know, pump that energy into your vision. And, you know, you get those energy leaks, you know, there's people, like you said, that are kind of just like sucking it away. And, you know, it's like you have to get them away from you, in my opinion, you know, yes, you know, as Hazel said, you know, there are, and you implied, you know, there are situations where you do need to extend that grace. You do need to, you know, maintain, you know, some level of relationship. But, you know, I've just found that, you know, you have to kind of put people in certain, I hate to say the word boxes, but you kind of have to put certain people in certain boxes. Because you understand, you know, where you are and where you're going, and they're not, you know, they're not doing anything to add to that. You know, I've had to be, you know, very, very aware of that myself. You know, so I totally get where you're coming from. Totally get where you're coming from. Cool. That was good stuff, man. You've got a lot of great things to share, you know, with our audiences. You know, I mean, you know, you're a business owner. You are working full time. You know, you're pulling together a team. You pulled together a, you know, substantial team. You know, with you know, different people doing different jobs in addition to the people that are sitting at the table, you know, doing the show with you. I mean, that's really impressive. And especially, you know, thinking about it again from the second go around. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
I love the idea that, you know, you decided to create a very clear vision, you know, for what this time around was going to be, you know, versus kind of letting it grow organically. And in doing so, you were able to get the right people at the table, make sure they're engaged, make sure that they are, you know, growing and contributing, you know, which is really awesome. You know, we find that when people can share that vision, they're just so much more engaged. You know, they're so much more committed. You know, even beyond, you know, what you know, what I'll say, you know, what would be normal, you know, beyond a paycheck, if you will.
Exactly.
Do you find that to be true?
Oh, I find it tremendously true. And then another thing too is that especially if you have an idea, you don't have to do everything yourself. I think a lot of people feel like they need to they patent these ideas and they need to take full credit, and then they end up gassing themselves out. You know, I've seen a statistic, you know, especially with, you know, African American males, the statistics for those that work own businesses and do everything themselves is higher than those that have a team for some reason. Why do you think that is? Why do we need full credit? Why? What's it called? I think being a part of this team really opened my eyes to where I remember, you know, Juan Collado, who is my videographer. I remember he sat me down, and Rebecca. They tag team and bully me all the time. They say,
"Who's Rebecca?"
Rebecca's my wife, fiance, about to be wife. She's also the manager, and she runs the company along with me as with DomceptVisuals. So she helps me with the scripts, and you know, she's pretty much my filing cabinet. She keeps me organized. She takes all my ideas that are living in the clouds and she compiles them into MP3, and then, you know, everything is fantastic. Because
So we'll have to check in with her to find out how she feels about being a filing cabinet.
Right. Hey, don't tell her I said this. Yeah, but they really told me, especially when we went the second go around for the show, I had difficulty letting go. I had to control everything, so I wasn't really focusing on actually being the host. I was, instead of thinking about my conversations with my co-hosts, I was thinking about, okay, what are the cameras looking like? Okay, what are the lights looking like? Okay, what's the sound? Oh, how does it sound? And what's it called? Man, how's this going to look like in YouTube? I was thinking about production. I was thinking about posts when in reality my mind should be here. So
Yeah.
me actually having to let go and fully trust was probably one of the biggest steps in my career of being a host for my own podcast, and even for DomceptVisuals. Even it took me a year to even tell him, hey, I kind of, without you throwing away your company, I kind of want to hire you as my full-time videographer, because that was my way of learning how to trust. What's it called? I need to be able to trust his vision. Just because he may shoot different doesn't change his quality of work. So just make a team. Just come up with an idea, bring a couple people in, and and bounce off ideas. Just because you're bringing people in doesn't mean that the idea isn't yours anymore. You're just delegating that work to make it possible. Even in the beginning, the money might not be great from the beginning, but it could get there. So I think a lot of people need to just shake that idea of them just having to do everything themselves, because that's also where the roadblocks will knock you down. And you'll end up stopping because you overwhelmed yourself and you wanted to keep an idea. A lot of people have this thing where they say move in silence. Move in silence is pretty good, but then when you're struggling with your company, how is anybody supposed to know what you're going through? So you need to at least, just like Hazel was saying, just find that community, find that company, so that you have a lot of positive influence in yourself, so you can dish those ideas, because a lot of people have a lot of things to say. It's hard to jump into a company, but if you talk to somebody about your show, hey, I've been doing this show for Kinda Not Scripted, and they see your show, they might not want to start their own podcast, but they might give you an idea. They might give you an idea. They say, hey, what I was thinking for your show, maybe blah, blah, blah. One person told me that, hey, you should do live Twitch. You should stream live on Twitch. And we've been streaming live on Twitch for the last 3 days, and it's been running phenomenally. So but you have to put yourself in that situation, in that environment where people bring positive energy to you, because energy is everything. Confidence, energy, support systems, those things all form after confidence. So I hope I answered your question. I talk a lot.
No, not at all.
Okay.
We have no idea what you're doing. I'm just kidding.
We haven't packed a lot of things in there.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. Yeah. Bars, as you would say.
Right, bars. But yeah, no, I'm really, what's it called? I hope, I won't change the subject, but I'm really happy that I'm here. I'm not going to lie, before I got on, I was really nervous because, when I woke up this morning, I was like, oh, I'm about to kill this. I'll do this every Saturday. But then when I sat down at the table, I realized, oh, wait, I'm a guest. So really my responses are have to reflect what the question that was given to me, or just the conversation or whatever. So, being a guest kind of became, sort of nerve wracking. But as soon as we started, you guys made me feel real comfortable. So I'm really happy that you guys have me here.
Happy to hear it.
Awesome. We love having you on here.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean,
Excellent,
you did
excellent,
it
excellent.
great.
So-
You actually pursued what you wanted to do. That's big.
Yeah, definitely. Don't be afraid of your 30s either.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that relentless it's that relentless pursuit of your vision, man.
Yeah.
You can't put a cost on that.
No.
It's interesting. I think for me, when you were talking about how you need to kind of pace yourself, that wasn't the term you used. You said, you don't need to work 365 days a year,
Right.
et cetera, et cetera. That pacing while being relentless and being tenacious, regardless of what happens,
Right.
You're overcoming those roadblocks. You're learning, that, and I'm going to make an assumption here, but, you're kind of learning that certain things that were roadblocks, 3 months ago, 6 months ago, aren't roadblocks. They're
No.
just things that happen, and you just, okay,
Right.
This happened again. You just keep moving.
Right.
It's really inspirational. It's really inspirational. I know for me, and I'm sure for our guests as they're listening, and again, the idea of just kind of picking up and just keeping just continuing to
Right.
to drive
Right.
towards that vision. It's just so it's just so important. I think
Really.
as an entrepreneur, I could tell 100 stories about, things that, just did not go the way we planned or
Right.
whatever. And I'm sure Hazel could as well. If you guys didn't see the episode where we talked about Hazel, the serial entrepreneur, she's got stories and she's got stuff that she's working on now. It's cool. I really get that. I really appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And I know I never mentioned the 3 words, but because of the things the roadblocks that I've been through, previously before I started the business, during, and right now, just the 3 words that I use that help me a lot is consistency, perspective, and balance. And I use those in everyday life, whether that's business or that's outside. And I feel like, it's those 3 words, just thinking about those 3 words have just created it's just a heavy impact on my life as an overall man. And, in any setting, my 9 to 5 job, being a fiance and supporting my family, a son, a brother, a business owner, business partner. I think those 3 words really just help me a lot to just kind of compile life down. Just like you said, just you don't have to run 1,000 miles an hour. You honestly don't have to. Just as long as you stay consistent, as long as you can balance the outside world within your own mind and your own environment, and just perspective. Not all things are roadblocks, like you just said. Yeah.
I love that.
Do you want to dig into? No, go ahead, Hazel. Go ahead.
Okay, so when we make bold decisions, right? Even though it can be frightening at the moment, at the same time it's also elating because we're pursuing what we want to do. Like I mentioned earlier,
Right.
and I think that's pretty big. But at the same time, like Rick was saying, it doesn't go smoothly every time. Even if
No.
at the moment of setting that up, our brain is on fire. But then once roadblocks pop up, let's say like 3 months later,
Right.
the high from when you started has dissipated and is replaced with like
Right.
mountains of bills without as much deposits
Right.
coming in, without much profits coming in, and it's now
Right.
it's now been frayed by self-esteem issues like, oh, turns out I'm not actually a good leader after all. I'm actually a terrible boss. I can't handle a team. I can't handle finances, yada yada yada. So
Yeah.
I see this a lot in entrepreneurs. I've been there myself. Like I'm gonna launch this business, then 3 months later switch to another business. Once again, the market for this business has been saturated, so now I'm in yet another line of business. So that constant pivoting and the constant disorientation that comes along with it. How do we endure that long term? How do we make our decisions? How do we make sure our decisions are gonna endure, that that they're gonna last, that we're not simply gonna make a decision, get high off it, get our feet wet, but then we're gonna fail, gonna make another decision.
Right. Oh, Rick, were you just about to answer that?
No, that's all you,
I
buddy.
saw you. I saw you lean. You sure?
That's a great
I'm
question.
opening the door for you. No, I think that's a very great question. Me, me personally, I'm still learning how to make those uncomfortable decisions. Especially like you were saying, leaving your 9 to 5 job and, starting your company, maybe the money's not lining up. That's one step that I have not taken yet. But I feel like as far as your other major decision, I think you just need to understand that, sometimes you're going to fall down. I think it just all matters on how fast you get up and how long you can stay standing up. Not all decisions are not all bad decisions, but they're just very difficult. I think the best ones are the ones that are easy.
Mm, love
Good
that.
stuff. Good
Yeah.
stuff. So, with everything you've gone through, everything you've experienced, and you've given us a lot of information or a lot of thoughts
Yeah.
already. What's been the biggest, or perhaps the most important lesson you've learned that you want to share with our audience?
Let go. That's me personally, if I could speak for Isaiah, just let go and just find a way to, trust others. You don't have to hold and touch and edit and shoot and do everything yourself, because when you grow up to be a very independent person and you feel like you have to do everything yourself, it's very hard for you to let others, carry that torch. Like, imagine you running Epiphany by yourself. How can you do that? There's too many moving pieces, and I remember we were talking on the phone and it lasted like 45 minutes, and I said, yeah, you couldn't do that at all by yourself. But just learning how to you just have to learn how to delegate. To be in order to be a leader, you need to learn how to delegate and sit back and just let others take the reins, and you don't have to touch everything. So that was my biggest thing as a person to do, that I felt like I was always had that mindset where it's like, hey, can you move these 3 couches? I was a whole lot faster for me to just do it than ask somebody to take the other side. So me learning to just trust others to be able to do the job was probably one of the biggest things and biggest weights off my shoulders that I've had in my entire life, to be honest. Just fully letting go. And I think that's just what's going to make everything successful. I think that's what's going to make other people happy, just taking off that burden of just having to internalize and do everything on their own.
Awesome.
That's me.
Great. That is so right on. I remember, bringing in the first person to the company, and then suddenly I had like all this other time.
Right.
Admittedly, I micromanaged, for a while, but after a while, it's just like, just let it go, and
right.
It's it pays off. It pays off, to such a great degree.
Yeah.
So good for you for learning that.
Yeah.
Good for you for learning that really early on. Even
It's funny that you said that you had micromanaging qualities with the first person that came in, because my first session of just letting things go was with Juan, and he's setting up the cameras and everything, and I'll say, hey, maybe you should just lower it down a little bit like that. And he looked at me, he said, don't you have to take a shower or something? And I said, okay, yes sir, I'm sorry. Now it just feels like you said, it just feels great. Now, like for example, this set right here, I didn't touch anything here. I literally just walked out the room and everything was set, and I'm just happy with the way that it looks, and just just their consistency and just proving my mind to just let go, and that they're gonna do high quality work regardless if I'm looking at it or touching it, is just one of the best things ever for me.
And it creates
personally.
that balance between life and your creative work, which is very important in your line of
Right.
work industry.
Yeah.
Outstanding. Well, I say thank you so much for being on the show. This was again, you've given us a lot of great ideas, great insights. Now, if somebody wanted to reach out to you, if they have questions or just thoughts, or even want to see your show, and this may be, I guess, going in a few different directions, but what's the best way for them to reach you?
The best way to reach me would be through email. That'll be DomceptVisuals@gmail.com. If you want to see any of my work, it's also DomceptVisuals on YouTube and on Instagram. And if you want to catch the live show, we're on Twitch under the same thing, DomceptVisuals.
Cool. Excellent. Yeah, well, thanks again for being on the show. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching or for listening. It's always a great pleasure. It's always a great privilege to be able to share our guests and learn a lot and share that with you. And ideally, if you've got any questions or thoughts that you have for us or for our guests, feel free to drop a line. You can always go to epiphany.com/off-the-cuff. That's off-the-cuff. We're going to have to shorten that, Hazel. So you guys can catch up with this. We look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching another episode of Epiphany Off the Cuff. Please make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when the next episode is going to drop. And don't forget, we're on podcasts as well, so you can catch us on your favorite podcasting platform. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Epiphany Off the Cuff.